just trying to shoot some footage. Nice bike. And I also have a microphone with a little brush on top, so it should act as a sort of pop filter, kind of disrupting the wind on the camera or on the mic. Throwing out the trash. That's how we do it here. So here's my hood. So yeah, I'm just trying out the stabilizer, and now I'm just noticing, especially with the microphone and all the wires, that I just look like a journalist, basically with a small camera, but the stabilizer is pretty big. Perhaps I can show you another video. And I don't know how deterring this is to people, because it looks so big. And I do a lot of shooting with just the camera in hand. Works pretty fine. I'm just moving now through the controls. And it shouldn't be as moving as my previous videos were. So shaky. Hope it's working. So I can just show the new hood, which is here. This is my neighborhood, and this is the main street here, which is called Oboriste. So you can see I'm just meters away from the center, which has a lot of restaurants, little cafes. Basically everything you need. It's kind of noisy street, a lot of cars, buses and whatever. Like every time you try to shoot a video, the noisiest cars come by. But yeah, this is basically the hood. And now I'm walking in the direction of the Serdica Mall, which is basically around the corner. I'm gonna cross, and the plan was to walk to a bakery to get some lunch, but I'm not gonna use this whole stabilizer for when I go into a store and film people, because it would be a bit deterring to come with the whole thing inside. So I think I'll use a stabilizer mostly for walking in the streets, actually shooting cityscapes and nature obviously, but not just coming in your face with the camera, sort of, because it's not the way I want to do it. I want to be like a low-key filmer, not discreet. People should know that I'm filming, but I don't want to be like in your face with the whole equipment, if you know what I mean. And it's not that I ever had negative reactions to the filming, because especially in Bulgaria people are kind of cool with it. Netherlands not that much. Like even if you'd walk down the street like this, you'll have a problem. In any city, any town, even a village, people will call you out and say, hey, what are you doing? What is this whole deal? But here, that's not the case. And it shouldn't be, because it is legal to film in the streets. So what we have here is the crossroads with Cherkovna, where you can see that it's getting a little busier, especially the car traffic. Cherkovna is the north-south axis, crossing Oboriste Street here. which has a traffic light, and it's basically just a village road, because this used to be a village a long time ago until it got absorbed into Sofia proper. So the infrastructure hasn't evolved as such, at least the roads and the pavements, if you ask me. But this is now one of the best neighborhoods of Sofia to live. Oboriste in particular, which is this street, and then in particular the quiet streets next to it, because then you have the central location combined with all of the stores and the quietness of a village. See what I mean? Because it's just these main roads that are kind of packed with traffic all day long, but then we do have the quiet back streets that remind you of a village. What we have as well is a lot of small stores, vegan stuff, hipster things, ladies picking up trash, which is a nice thing as well. And in this place, I'll just go to a back street. Here you can see directly how quiet it is. See, then the traffic just stops. And these are the better areas of the city to live in. Very popular, kind of expensive as well, but rightly so. Or perhaps not, I don't know. But I like the area. Nice and green. Nobody's bothering you. And then what you see is the houses in between, like the older houses. This is not the right street for that, I guess. This is not that old. But you'd see sort of village houses in between, reminding you that this used to be outside the city and now it's inside. And obviously the apartment buildings are all like 30-40 years old when the city expanded rapidly. This morning I had some problems with my internet, because in Bulgaria you'll be fine if everything goes well, but as soon as you have to rely on any sort of customer service, you go through the depths of hell basically, because it is non-existent in a lot of cases. Like when things run smoothly, you're fine and dandy, but when you have to start relying on people doing their job, it gets a bit more particular. Because the issue started when I switched apartments. An internet subscription from November last year until November this year. And then I moved, and you have to pay a 15 euro change fee. So that was all fine. The internet was changed, but then suddenly I got a text that I had an outstanding payment. And I thought, what's that? Because I paid the change fee and the internet subscription is to November. So I went to the office and they said, yeah, you closed off a new contract for the same moment you changed the address. And I said, well, I'm not sure, because my subscription is until November, right? And I do everything in Bulgarian because I'm fluent enough. They said, now you closed off a contract, so there's nothing I can do. You can pay, or there's no internet. I said, well, sorry, but it doesn't work like that. I'll bring the contract, and you can see. And the guy made a call to the, I don't know whom. Started laughing with this guy, because obviously I didn't catch the full conversation. And after that he said, yeah, everything's fine, don't worry. And then I said, so I'm right, so there's no second contract, right? Because he didn't show me this second contract that's basically not existing. He said, yeah, don't worry, you have internet. This morning, woke up, no internet. Get the same message like, there's an outstanding payment, no internet so far. Went to the office again and I said, do I have some outstanding contract still, or what is it? It was the same guy. He made a call and he said, yeah, don't worry, everything's fine. Wait for an hour and a half at home. Still no internet. Made a call, they said, yeah, it's fine, we'll be anytime. Half an hour later, made another call. And then it worked. But there was no second contract, obviously. I don't know why, probably someone made an administrative mistake. But just to solve that, you have to go there and basically apologize that you come to inconvenience them, instead of the other way around. Like, I'm inconvenienced, we're paying customer, and they say, yeah, you have to pay this yearly amount because you closed the contract. When you ask to see it, there's no such thing. So it's only when you speak Bulgarian that you can basically get out of these situations, and otherwise you will have an even less friendly encounter, I suppose, unless you find a good person across you, which is in low paid positions hard to find. So yeah, if you don't speak up and you have to stand on your grounds, you're gonna pay extra, like you're gonna pay through your nose even. And that's something that happens like all the time. Like, obviously things, most often they run smoothly, but when it doesn't, you're kind of lost for help. But I guess it happens in most places. What you don't have to expect is any kind of apology or any kind of person saying, yeah, we messed up, it's our mistake, we'll take care of it. No such thing. It's you as the customer, even if you pay, that has to do the work. And the typical attitude that when you rely on customer service is that you are inconveniencing the person who's supposed to work for you. And I know that the customer in a lot of places, like I've done a lot of work with guests and clients, the customer is often a moron, let's be honest. But not always, and even if so, the customer is paying, so you should provide some clarity on the service and the cost, obviously, before you just rip off a yearly subscription when there's no need, right? But yeah, what you basically see is people don't caring about anything. That's when you rely on customer service, you will not find a single person who wants to solve it. That's the thing. And the thing about people not caring, I saw another thing this week. I was in the center, and you know the city is not very wheelchair friendly. Like, the pavements are pretty high, except for here. You can see that there is a possibility to go with a wheelchair, but that's pretty rare. And what I saw was in the center, like across the street there was a woman in a wheelchair, and she had her legs cut off under the knees, so just no feet, just basically her knees, and that's it. She was in a wheelchair crossing at the traffic light, and she wanted to get on the other pavement across the road. So I thought, oh, maybe I should go help. Like, she's not gonna be able to do that. But I was across the road. I'd need to pass 2 traffic lights, and then like a minute would pass before I was there. So I just stood there observing, thinking like, oh, someone else will help, you know. It's after all, it's a woman in a wheelchair, like, who wouldn't help, right? But nobody helped. People walked by, people looking on their phones, or even looking at her and just ignoring it, like choosing to ignore it. And that was just normal civilized people, like anyone else in the center. It's not like I was in some rundown area. But people choose to ignore her. It's not like she was unwashed or the wheelchair was dirty, not at all. So nobody helped. And the thing is that she got out of the wheelchair on her 2, like what's left of her legs, just the 2 stumps, you know. And she pulled the wheelchair on top of the pavement, and she got back in. Like, obviously it was not the first time that she did that, and nobody seemed to notice, nobody seemed to care, which I thought was kind of disturbing. This woman was a gypsy. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but it shouldn't. Like, an individual in a wheelchair is someone who's weak, and no matter what, it's not like you have to give someone money or whatever. But when someone without legs needs to get out of a wheelchair to pull it on a pavement, when tens of people walk by, choose to ignore it, I don't like seeing that. So perhaps it's a thing in the whole modern day society that people just don't give a toss anymore. Even so, it's a particular roughness that I see every day in this country, and I don't like seeing it. So the thing is that I also wouldn't want to grow old here. I'd much prefer to go back to my own country then. Like, it's a cool place to be in your young years, but as soon as you need any sort of help, you will be lost. And I get a lot of pensioners asking about moving to this country, asking like, what do I do? What do I do in case I need help? And I typically say, well, you figure it out. You have to be mostly self-reliant. And if you get any help, be thankful. Like, obviously, good is out there, but you're basically on your own, especially in the deep country, but also in the big city. So that's some thoughts I wanted to share. Perhaps a bit negative, but that's also part of life, you know. Like, we're all people, and who's to say that we can't help each other just a bit. It's not virtue signaling, but someone in a wheelchair, come on. Getting on her kneecaps just to pull a wheelchair on the pavement. And these are everyday scenes. Like, just think about that when you want to relocate here and you are reliant on care, or just the care of people around you. I don't know. And I'm just observing. Doesn't mean I like this country any less, but it's also another bonus point. Where we're ending up now is the Doctor's Garden, which is dedicated to doctors who lost their lives in, I don't know what war, not exactly sure, I'm sorry, but there's a monument in the middle that mentions a lot of doctors' names. I guess I'm gonna show you that in another video because it's still a bit into the park. I wanna go get my lunch and go back home. But here we have the Doctor's Park. Beautiful thing about that is that we have these sort of columns back from the Thracian times, antiquity, just standing around. Fragments from Sofia, the 2nd century until the 18th century. Just standing around like this, which is a real cool thing. Like, I love this city for all its flaws and whatever. It does have some real cool areas. See, there's a park. So that's just my vlog for today. I hope it was not too nagging. I'm happy to be back here. And life's good, you know. So I will see you in the next video then.